The mystery of the Georgia Guidestones.
The Georgia Guidestones were a massive granite monument in rural Georgia, USA, commissioned by an unknown person under the fake name R.C. Christian, engraved with 10 cryptic guides for humanity, and destroyed by a bombing in 2022, leaving behind more questions than answers. In this video, we'll lean into the mystery, the conspiracies, and the unanswered questions that still haunt this so-called American Stonehenge. Before we start, I want you to keep these questions in your mind, because by the end, you might not like the answers. Who really built the Georgia Guidestones, and why did they hide behind the name R.C. Christian? Were the Guidestones a peaceful guide to an age of reason, or a blueprint for a new world order after a global catastrophe? Why did this monument tell us to keep humanity under 500 million people when the world already had billions? How did a quiet granite monument in a cow pasture become a magnet for satanic, depopulation, and secret society conspiracies? And finally, who blew the Guidestones up in 2022, and what were they trying to erase or protect? In this video, we'll answer each of these one by one, but stay till the end because there's one last detail about the Guidestones that almost nobody talks about, and it might change how you see the whole story. Let's start simple. What actually were the Georgia Guidestones? From 1980 until their destruction in 2022, they were a cluster of huge granite slabs standing on a hilltop in Elbert County, Georgia, so striking that people nicknamed them America's Stonehenge. The monument consisted of 4 tall, upright stones arranged in an X shape, a central pillar, and a flat capstone on top, reaching around 19 feet high and weighing over 100 tons in total. They weren't just big rocks for tourists to take selfies with. They were precisely aligned with astronomical events, working as a kind of modern celestial clock, tracking the sun's solstices, equinoxes, and even pointing to the North Star. On top of that, the stones carried 10 guides or commandments in 8 modern languages, plus a short phrase in 4 ancient scripts on the capstone. Okay, but isn't this just a weird art project in the middle of nowhere? And the answer is, you could call it that, but it was an art project with a mission. The people behind it said they wanted to leave guidance for humanity after some future social, nuclear, or economic calamity. Almost like instructions for whoever survives the end of the world. When you mix doomsday survival, secret sponsors, and cryptic rules for the future, that's when a monument stops being just art and starts looking like a message. Now we hit the first real mystery. Who built this thing? In the summer of 1979, a well-dressed stranger walked into the Elberton Granite Finishing Company and introduced himself as R.C. Christian. He said he represented a small group of loyal Americans who had been planning a monument for decades, and they wanted it built in Georgia, on the highest point in that county. Here's the twist. He immediately admitted that R.C. Christian was a pseudonym, not his real name. He demanded strict secrecy, forced a local banker to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and ordered that all records proving his identity be destroyed once the project was finished. To this day, the true identity of R.C. Christian and his group has never been revealed. On a separate stone slab next to the monument, there was a short text mentioning that the Guidestones were erected by R.C. Christian, and that they were meant to be guidestones to an age of reason. That phrase, age of reason, combined with the initials RC, led some to suspect links to secret societies like the Rosicrucians or other esoteric groups, though no proof has ever surfaced. Come on, if this was harmless, why hide the identities? Why destroy the documents? That's exactly why conspiracy theories exploded around this monument. The official explanation is that Christian and his group wanted the focus on the message, not on themselves. But secrecy is a double-edged sword. The more they hid, the more people filled in the blanks with their darkest suspicions. Globalist elites, occult orders, or even shadowy government planners. Let's talk about the most controversial part. The message carved into the Guidestones. On 4 large slabs, the same 10 rules were repeated in 8 modern languages: English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. On the capstone, the phrase, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason," appeared in 4 ancient scripts: Babylonian cuneiform, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. Here are a few of those 10 guides that made people's blood run cold. Maintain humanity under 500,000 in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. When the stones were unveiled in 1980, the world population was already in the billions. So telling humanity to stay under 500 million sounded less like advice and more like a hint at massive depopulation, at least to critics. The combination of population limits, guiding reproduction, and a world court read to some as a technocratic manifesto, a single global authority controlling how many people live and how they reproduce. Maybe they just meant if a catastrophe wipes us out and only a few people survive, they should rebuild smarter, right? Supporters of the monument say exactly that. The text was written under the assumption that a future disaster would drastically reduce humanity, and the 500 million figure is just a suggested sustainable level for a post-apocalyptic world. Critics, however, argue that you don't casually carve such ideas into granite unless you're okay with, or planning for, a dramatic reduction in population. That tension between guided survival and hidden agenda is what fueled so many conspiracy theories. So how did a bizarre monument in a Georgia pasture become a global conspiracy symbol? First, the ingredients are perfect. Anonymous funders, a fake name, destroyed records, and a set of commandments about population, reproduction, and global governance. Add the astronomical features, a hole aligned to the North Star, slots marking solstice and equinox sun positions, and it starts to feel more like an occult altar than a tourist attraction to some people. From the 1980s onward, local pastors and activists condemned the Guidestones as satanic, claiming the messages promoted eugenics and a one-world government. Christian conservatives, conspiracy authors, and later internet personalities connected the stones to ideas about the New World Order, depopulation plans, and elite secret societies. By the 2000s and 2010s, the Guidestones had become a recurring symbol in online conspiracy communities, including QAnon circles, where they were portrayed as the elite's confession in stone about their alleged future plans for humanity. The monument was repeatedly vandalized, with phrases like NWO and anti-globalist graffiti sprayed on the stones, forcing local workers to sandblast and clean them again and again. Is there any actual evidence linking the Guidestones to a real secret organization? Officially, no. The only concrete facts are that an anonymous group paid for them, used a pseudonym, and wanted to promote what they called an age of reason with environmental and globalist overtones. Everything else, Rosicrucians, Illuminati, global cabals, is speculation built on symbolism, timing, and people's fear of being controlled. But when a monument refuses to answer questions for over 40 years, people create their own answers. Who blew them up and what's left now? Now for the most dramatic chapter in this story, the night the stones fell. Around 4 a.m. on July 6, 2022, an explosive device detonated at the Guidestones, completely destroying one of the slabs and damaging the capstone. Surveillance footage released by authorities shows a bright flash as the bomb goes off, and a car speeding away from the scene moments later. For safety reasons, local officials quickly decided to demolish the remaining stones the same day, using heavy equipment to bring the structure down and leaving nothing but a pile of rubble. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation confirmed an ongoing investigation, but as of now, no suspect has been publicly identified and no motive officially confirmed. The destruction ripped open the local community. Some residents felt heartbreak, seeing the monument as a unique piece of local history and craftsmanship tied to the granite industry. Others, especially those who saw the stones as satanic or sinister, quietly or loudly celebrated, saying the blast removed a symbol of evil from their land. After the bombing, there were even brief discussions about rebuilding the Guidestones, but local officials later transferred the remaining pieces to the Elberton Granite Association and returned the land to the previous private owner. The much-rumored time capsule that was supposedly buried under the stones was investigated, but when the site was dug up, no evidence of any time capsule was found. Wait, are we sure it wasn't destroyed by someone who knew a secret about it? There's no public evidence of that, yet. The official line is simple. Unknown individuals planted an explosive device and left. But because the monument was already a lightning rod for conspiracy theories, its destruction instantly spawned even more theories. That it was an insider cleanup, a message to the group behind it, or even a symbolic ending of whatever plan the stones represented. When facts are scarce, imagination takes over. Let's quickly walk back through our questions and see how much we really answered. Who really built the Georgia Guidestones? We know they were commissioned by someone calling himself R.C. Christian, representing an anonymous group, and that bankers and granite workers swore to keep his identity secret. Beyond that, his real name and organization are still unknown. Were they peaceful guidance or a blueprint for a new order? The stones spoke about living in harmony with nature, fair laws, and avoiding petty officials, but also promoted strict population limits, guiding reproduction, and a world court, which critics saw as deeply authoritarian. Whether you read them as idealistic or sinister depends on your trust in whoever wrote those rules. Why tell humanity to stay under 500 million? The monument's backers may have imagined a post-disaster world where only a fraction of humanity survives, but they immortalized a number that sounds like a quiet endorsement of massive depopulation. That one line alone is enough to keep debates and suspicions. Why did conspiracies swarm the site? Anonymous sponsors, destroyed records, occult-style design, and commands about global governance turned a granite curiosity into a symbol of everything people fear about shadowy elites and hidden agendas. The more the creators refused to step into the light, the darker the theories became. And the last, who blew them up? Officially, we only know that someone used an explosive device before dawn, then escaped by car. No public arrests, no confirmed motive. The Guidestones stood for over 4 decades, but in a few seconds, they were shattered, leaving behind more theories than evidence. The missing chapter. Here's the part that keeps me up at night. For more than 40 years, a secret group spent money, time, and effort to carve their message into stone, align it with the stars, and plant it on a lonely Georgia hill, then walked away and never took credit. They trusted granite more than governments, more than books, more than digital archives, as if they believed civilization might reset and only a monument would remain. And then, before we ever learned who they were, before any time capsule was found, before any confession surfaced, someone erased that monument in a single explosion, and authorities cleared the rubble by the end of the day. No time capsule, no identity revealed, no final explanation, just a blank field where a message to the future once stood. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Did the Georgia Guidestones represent a warning from a group that knew something was coming? Or were they a glimpse into a future that someone didn't want us to see? Until we know who R.C. Christian really was and why his group believed the world needed these rules carved into stone, the story of the Georgia Guidestones is still unfinished. And if a monument can appear overnight and vanish just as suddenly, what else is out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to notice it, before someone blows that secret away too? History isn't dead, it's just buried. And next time, we dig up something that'll make today's mystery look like a warm-up. Subscribe and stay close, because the next echo from the past, you do not want to miss what it's saying.